having to prove himself all over again. So, Bucky, is there any hope for Carson Wentz's future in Philly?
Yeah, there's hope, but it won't happen this year because Carson Wentz is there. The contract prevents the Eagles from moving on. It's like a $50 million dead cap hit if they move on from him this year. Then it goes down to maybe 26, 30 million the following year. So Carson Wentz is going to be there. I think the onus is on Doug Peterson, Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman to figure out a way to get Carson Wentz back to playing at the level that he was playing at. Not even 2017, but last year. And so if that means blowing out some of their offensive coaches and bringing in some friendly faces or putting in a scheme that best fits his skill set, they have to do that because number 11 is your starting quarterback for 2021 and beyond in Philadelphia.
Yeah, he's stuck there, and that's his only hope, the fact that, hey, I'm still here, and you got to get a return on investment, so why not see what I have? But what he has been so subpar that I think the writing's already on the wall. Yeah, we're stuck with you, but we're not feeling you, and we're going to make plans to move forward even though you'll still be here. Usually that happens in your absence, but it's going to happen in his presence. That said, look at this dude, man. Like, there's almost a little sympathy I can have for him. And it's not the way that Acho always talks about, oh, he doesn't have his weapons and his offensive line and all that. Nah. Once you get paid $39 million in one calendar year of football, nobody wants to hear what else is around you, in part because you took up the money, so not that much is around you. But you're supposed to be the quarterback, a franchise quarterback who can lift this team. And in the absence of playmakers, are supposed to be that same playmaker. But look at how many times Carson Wentz had to prove himself, which is interesting. Talking about the equity that he built up in his career, it seems like he's lost all of that equity. This is the same guy who at first had to prove he was worthy of being a number 2 overall pick. We've all been in that position before, LeVar especially, because he was a number 2 overall pick, but we all had to make a name for ourselves in the NFL. Carson Wentz had to check that box. Then there were the questions of his leadership. He only went to the corner of the locker room and hung around the guys that he liked. So then he started buying shotguns for everybody in the damn locker room to buy their love and see if that can work. But there were question marks about his leadership. Then he's an MVP candidate, but he doesn't finish the deal there. So he doesn't get all of the equity that he deserves from having an MVP-type campaign. Then Nick Foles comes out as the backup and wins the Super Bowl. So now you get a Super Bowl ring, but it feels hollow because you ain't even finished the deal if you're Carson Wentz. You got to prove yourself again. So then the next year, you put the team on your back, you go to the playoffs, and what happens? You get hurt in the game. You don't even finish the first quarter of that game. Once again, you got to reset your equity. Now they drafted your position. Like, that's insulting no matter what position you play, let alone franchise quarterback who just got paid. And now there's question marks about his practice habits. Yo, if that ain't enough ammunition to say we ain't feeling you, Carson Wentz, but we stuck with you, I don't know what is. Yeah, this is a situation that he's going to be there, but trust me, in their minds, they've already moved on.
What is this? Is this the real? Is this the View today? Are we a bunch of women up here sitting around a table talking about this man the way that y'all had just spoken about him? Y'all should be truly ashamed of yourselves. Let me explain something to y'all.
Oh, God.
I don't have a Super Bowl. I don't have a Super Bowl appearance. I don't have a Super Bowl ring. Never sniffed a Super Bowl. I don't think any of us have. All right.
Sure.
But what I've heard in the history as a fan of this game, first is the importance of winning a Super Bowl. And I think that you got to take into consideration Carson Wentz has all the hope in the world with his future in Philadelphia because he led the way and set the stage for that team to be able to do something that has never happened. As close as they've gotten, they have never solidified the deal of winning a Super Bowl. Sure, you will give some of that credit to Nick Foles, and I understand that. But Carson Wentz was the catalyst to that, and beyond that, he has played well. So in looking at all of the elements, he has played well beyond that Super Bowl year. moving beyond that aspect, what? He hasn't played well since the Super Bowl?
In moments, in games.
He's been okay. So
exactly. Six
maybe
flags.
Not consistent. Y'all can continue on with the hateful way of approaching this, but there has been positives for Carson Wentz. I got to tell you, this Super Bowl team is in purgatory. It's not just Carson Wentz that's right now. That whole Super Bowl thing is dead and gone, but you can't transition on to the next level. You're still here, and you still got to do something with it. That's the entire Philadelphia organization, from top to bottom, from owner on down to equipment manager. There's so much pressure on this team to have to perform, and I think they're feeling the pressures of having to perform. And when you look at what Carson Wentz is doing, you're looking at a symptom of who has the biggest spotlight on them outside of the head coach and having to perform. They have to figure that out. That doesn't necessarily mean that you jump ship and stop supporting the guy that you gave all that money to because you believed in him to be that guy. That's simple. That's simple arithmetic.
Look, LA, I've said this. Carson Wentz is going to be there, but let's not make it out like he is playing well. He is having a horrible year by any metric that we want to use. But that's what we have to judge it off. In fact, he's on the verge of costing Doug Peterson his job. He's looking at this guy every week like, I am stuck with a quarterback who's a double agent. He not only plays for the Eagles, but he's playing for every other team that's on our schedule. And I don't know how to work around it. The only saving grace for Carson Wentz was that he was drafted by the organization with the second overall pick. They want to really make good on the investment, the big investment that they put in him when they did the long contract extension. The problem is you really don't know what you have because the playoffs, when I think about the playoffs with Carson Wentz, every time I think about the playoffs and I see the Eagles, I never see Wentz. He started last year, but he was out before the quarter was over. In the Super Bowl run, he wasn't around. The year after the Super Bowl run, Nick Foles is in. At some point, I would like to get a return on my investment where I see where my money is going. Right now, it's in the abyss, and my quarterback is certainly not playing well. I just don't know what to do, but I'm stuck with him because we paid him before we had to pay him.
Exactly, Bucky. I'm with you. I don't know what LeVar talking about this simple arithmetic. It was more of a word salad that you just put together. You need to chill, Tony Robbins, all this motivation speaking. Somebody pointed it out, too. If you move your head to the side, we're looking at that family portrait. You got a lot of nostalgia in your conversation right now. You talking from the old school, because I don't know what Carson Wentz you talking about. That's back in the black and white picture days, because this color version of Carson Wentz this year, how the hell you going to say he playing well? LeVar Arrington.
I didn't say this year. I said after the Super Bowl, he still had some good games.
Some good games in the
Super Bowl.
That's how you stay in the NFL as a franchise quarterback. Just have some good games here and there, and that's how you become that guy.
You did it too.
And that's why I'm here.
I did it too. We all did it.
Damn right.
Okay.
So if you want Carson Wentz to be
good for the goose is good for the gander.
If you want Carson Wentz to be in this and make it a 4-shot, it's coming. Because the way Carson Wentz is playing, he ain't long for the NFL. Look at this. 7 straight starts without once completing more than 60% of his passes. I love this nugget right here. Average passer rating in the NFL this year, 93.2. Average. Not the best, not the worst, just average, just whatever. Carson Wentz in 11 games has not hit that number one time. The average. Are y'all crazy? My last point, I got to put